Welcome back to my channel. We have a lot to cover today. This is probably going to be a longer video and I apologize for that, but Tupper had released a entire developer update page for VRChat, and it has so much to cover on it. It was yesterday at about 6:30 this was released, and it's like a roadmap that they made public that shows everything that they're working on currently, and we're just going to go over the whole thing. I looked over this quickly. I think that it shows a lot of promise, but we'll just have to see how it goes, see how they deliver everything, see how long it takes them, see how the community likes it, and we have to go from there, of course. But let's get started. Hello and welcome to the latest VRChat developer update. Here, we'll be talking about what we're working on and what our progress looks like so far. I already like this because they're being transparent with the community and letting us know what we can expect. That is so important, I think, after everything that's happened. If you really don't care what the developers have to say and you just want to see what they're implementing into the game, skip to the time marker on the screen right now, and you'll be able to skip all of like the introduction to the whole article. I don't blame you at all. It's kind of just a lot of talking about what the team is planning before all of the updates individually, and like how they're working differently to make sure that things will come out correctly on time. But yeah, I totally understand if you want to skip this. I just wanted to include it for the people who are interested. Production, design, and tasking meeting. The production and design teams have been spending 100% of their time the last few days gathering community feedback and translating it into actionable changes or feature add-ons. The community team has been in a direct contact with several communities and community leaders, such as Helping Hands among others, to gather feedback. A large database now exists with all of the feedback and information we've gathered. A full meeting of all production, design, and engineering staff met for an hour and a half to discuss. Tasks were sorted by priority, mostly informed by impact of accessibility, and how close each item was to being ready to ship. The focus was placed on speed above all else, with the understanding that this might result in initially rough results that need later polishing, or having to redo work later. The team went through the highest items on this list and assigned them to engineers. Normally, it's a bit more of a process to this where projects have tasks, and then the tasks are handed down to the engineers. But in the interest of time and utilizing people's interest in working on specific things, we let people take the things that were outside of their normal wheelhouse if they were interested in it. Tasks were opened up to team-wide feedback for any additional notes and insights. Historically, this has worked out very well. Most people that work on VRChat also play VRChat a lot, so lots of people have input sometimes. Approximately 2 weeks of development was laid out. There's more features after this list, but things are being doled out as fast as development completes. After the first batch of changes, a second batch will be built, and assignments will be reassessed so that all projects that were paused can resume. Regardless, every feature and change that was gathered by production and design is being considered at the very least, and in the vast majority of cases is being implemented. Some logistics were discussed. First off, Monday, August 1st is a holiday for VRChat. We have a mix of Canadian and US company holidays. Some planning was done to account for this. Second off, there was a discussion about potentially getting a release out this week, maybe as a network compatible open beta. There might be some features that are done enough to release for people to try stuff out. The general consensus was, let's see what happens. Features, fixes, and more. Here's just some of the stuff that got moved today. This will be quite long because everything got moved today. I do want to mention that some of these things are things that we covered yesterday, hopefully more in depth now that they're like releasing another thing about them. Maybe we can learn more, but there's not everything is repeating. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot. Don't worry. Horizon adjust. This feature lets you change your horizons such that you can use VRChat completely while in a bed or laying down. This is different from the movable menu. Here's a quick video showing what it looks like from a viewpoint of someone else. This video seems a little bit silly, but I get it. It's a really weird to see this from another perspective, I think. But I do still think that this is a very important feature. It's kind of hard to tell, but the person in this video is lying down the entire time. They set up in the last few seconds of the video. This was part of a recent internal feature jam and is nearly complete. Currently, the thought is to have it released in a network-compatible open beta before this weekend. That's really good in my opinion. But that depends on several things. The UI is getting shoved into the quick menu for now. Microphone sensitivity / noise gate. This was already part of a recent jam. It's a pretty easy addition. We're looking into adding a simple UI element that lets you adjust where your mic starts going hot and sending audio. This task got assigned out to the person who did the jam project. Noise cancellation. We did this too as part of a recent jam. It removes background noise from your mic. There's a bunch of noise cancellation libraries out there. We're looking into RN Noise. It's fast, reliable, proven. There's also an implementation for Android we're looking at. So I'm guessing that's what they're saying is for quests, right? This task got assigned to the person who did it in the Jam project. I'm assuming it's good if things are assigned to the people who already started them, because then they will already know what's happening. I imagine that they can roll it out faster. But that's just an assumption. I don't really know how they work. Visual settings. As described yesterday, visual settings are a set of features that include a set of color blindness filters that can be set, as well as a slider that adjusts the intensity of these filters. Additionally, there's an option to only affect the VRChat UI or the VRChat UI and the world that you're in. Notably, the method that we're using to adjust color for filtering in the prototype does not work on Quest due to graphical limitations. We'll be addressing this with further iterative updates and adjustments. This feature will also include the ability to turn off bloom as well as gamma, brightness, and contrast sliders. I think that's super cool. The code implementing for visual changes is complete and is getting UI now, and will move to QA soon. Then we have slider snapping. This is an effort to add snapping to sliders in our menu. This is a pretty common request, as it's really hard to land exactly on 100% on the volume slider. This is a pretty easy addition. Task was assigned. It'll have a toggle to turn on and off across the whole UI. The easiest implementation would be to default 5% snap points. Solo audio button. Like an audio mixer, clicking solo voice on someone would mute everyone in the instance except for that person. I think that's really interesting already. Not even reading anything else about it. That sounds really good, especially for people who want to talk one-on-one with someone, or like content creation when you want to interview someone and everyone's being loud. That's really, really hard to deal with, I think. Or of course, if someone has a hard time like paying attention to one person, or like maybe figuring out what audio is coming from what source, having this will definitely make it easier for them to talk to somebody. If you wanted to hear another person, you could toggle the solo button on for them too, and both soloed users would be audible to you. That's really good. There's some complications here, but this would help a ton for users to get overwhelmed with audio. Also true. We already have existing muted indicators on the nameplate, so informing others that they've been muted by you can be done without extra work. That's really nice, I think. It saves a lot of people from wasting a lot of time like trying to talk to you if you're muted. It's kind of annoying if you didn't know that you were muted. I'm not sure if that's actually in the game now, or if they're just saying they had them done. I've never really paid attention to it. There's some concern about this getting stuck on for people. Design efforts were started to see how to address these problems, as this feature seems to address cases where audio might be overwhelming from too many people around you. Local voice falloff slider. This would allow users to adjust their own local voice falloff. There's some concern that this will interfere heavily with custom Udon audio management scripts. It also may interfere heavily with our integration of Steam Audio. That's been in development for a very long time, but has made some significant progress already. The desire for this feature may end up with us pushing harder on Steam Audio instead, as we think that could fix a ton of problems. ONSP, our current spatializer, is very harsh. Conversation Dome. While working on the above two fairly similar features, solo audio and local voice, we've been pitching around the idea of a conversation dome. This is a sphere/dome around you with a customizable size. Anyone outside of the dome will have their voice turned down almost completely, allowing you to focus in on the conversation near you. This seems like a more elegant and intuitive solution, so we might pivot to try that instead. Don't worry, we still want Steam Audio either way. This sounds really interesting. I wonder if it'll be like something a player can put down that you can actually see, or if it's something that like if other people can see it, or if only you can see it and you have to be like, hey, get closer. I wonder how they'll implement that. I wonder what it'll look like. That sounds really interesting to me. Steam Audio. Speak of the devil, Steam Audio is a full system developed by Valve. It isn't just for Steam. It can run on just about anything. It just so happens Valve made it and distributes it for free. We've wanted it for a very long time, as ONSP, our current spatializer, has been found lacking for our users. You can do some really neat things with Steam Audio, like baking occlusion and audio materials. However, right off the bat, Steam Audio's tuning for voice is way better than ONSP's. That's our main concern to start, because hearing a bunch of voices at once in VRChat is extremely disorienting. We're accelerating efforts and poking Valve a bit more because we think that this could address a ton of problems. We think Steam Audio is quite close. Right now we're waiting on Valve to get back to us regarding some crashing issues. This next one is actually something I've heard someone talk to me about in game, and I didn't even know it was like something that a mod existed for, but apparently it did, because it sounds exactly like what they told me. Avatar distance hiding. Hide avatars that are more than X meters away from you. This task got assigned out and is designed for UI. The proposed implementation doesn't completely hide avatars, but instead replaces them with a super low poly gray diamond with a circle on the ground beneath it. No IK. We don't want people to be totally invisible because we've run into issues with that in the past. The task is currently in development. Here's what we're thinking the low poly diamond will look like. No rig, no animator, static mesh, GPU instance, so super performant. We're also considering how this might affect performance. As a bunch of these on top of each other, it might cause issues if there's transparency. As such, we're probably not going to let them be transparent by start. That causes other issues though. Now you've got a bunch of diamonds blocking your view of the stage, potentially. As such, we're considering further iteration where you can reduce them further, only to the circle on the ground, which sounds really good. That actually solves a lot of problems. Not only if there was like a stage and you couldn't see, but like maybe you can choose who you can turn into a diamond or a circle. I think that would be really good because sometimes people will like hover around you and you just don't want them that close to you. But you don't want to block them outright because then you can never see them again. Maybe just turning them into a circle temporarily could be really good. I'm not sure. Text-to-speech voice output. The weird header name is important. There's a lot of different systems that we've seen requests for. Text-to-speech for any given user's voice, speech-to-text for voices of others, speech-to-text for all audio, speech-to-text to speech for a form of voice anonymization. This particular item is regarding inputting text to VRChat and getting a voice outputting from your avatar. The PC implementation is fairly straightforward. There's already a few assets available to purchase that we could use as our internal API. These would use the built-in Windows TTS API, so you can install whatever voice you like. That's cool at this customization. Quest is a bit tougher as there's no native TTS API. We could go with a cloud-based generation API, but those get expensive. We're looking into other solutions. There's the possibility of pushing for PC first, then working on Quest later. I think that's pretty good. This is actually a great solve for something I keep hearing about, which is one of the biggest arguments for mods. I wish that they would have added this earlier, but I'm glad they're doing it now. Not only mute people for text-to-speech, deaf people getting speech-to-text on their screen, very, very good, or just hard of hearing in general. Speech-to-text-to-speech is also very interesting to me. I think that that is important to some people, is staying anonymous completely. Not having their voice everywhere is something that's like some privacy option that people might want. Or maybe, for example, if someone has like extreme anxiety or like social anxiety, they might feel more comfortable with text-to-speech or speech-to-text-to-speech as opposed to just talking out loud. And I think that's really important to help a lot of people play this game. Invite plus fix. Secure instances had a bug that we didn't catch where Invite Plus didn't work as described due to the changes we made with secure instances. We fixed it. It's live already. No need to wait on a client update. That's neat that they fixed it already. I'm glad they probably just hotfixed it or something. That's pretty good. There is a lot more to cover so far, and don't worry, we're going to go through all of it. It might take some time, but we're going to get through it. In the comments, let me know what you think of all these additions. Do you think it's enough? Do you think it's all the features that most people are asking for? I want to know what people's opinions are. In my last few videos, I've been asking for people's opinions about everything, and it's really interesting to see, no matter what side or like what your opinion is, it's very interesting to see the things you consider important and how you feel about everything. As like another community member, another VRChat player, I think it's very fantastic to hear, and it helps me consider new things. It helps everyone else in the comments have a conversation about things that they agree with or disagree with and why. I think it's really important. So if you do that, if you do take the time to comment, thank you very much. And let's get back into these because we have a lot more to go. Ask to portal. Common request. Have a setting that when enabled requires you to interact with the portal to enter it. In VR or with the controller, it's a trigger pull. On desktop, it's a left click. Task was assigned and now has a prototype. I really like this change personally. I really have had a lot of fun using like portals to troll around, like, oh, I'm playing murder. The murderer's chasing me. Let me drop a portal, find me, and make them run into it. It's super funny. But I have run into so many portals accidentally, like turning around without knowing one was there and just walking into it and end up teleporting away and have to rejoin my friends or something. I feel like stuff like that's a little bit annoying, but I feel like Ask the Portal is a pretty minor thing that's actually pretty useful. Near clipping slider. This slider adjusts the near clip on a user's camera. This is useful for very small avatars, but adjusting it too low can cause problems for worlds. This task was assigned, but has some concerns, so it's in design to try and work around those concerns. Next up, we have homeworld instance type. Some users want to load into a different instance types other than invite. So now you can set your homeworld to be any instance type. Invite, invite plus, friends, friends plus, or even public. Task was assigned and now has a prototype. This is actually pretty good because sometimes when I log in, me personally, I want to log in and have people be able to join me Usually I have my status on blue, so if people want to join me, I auto accept invites anyways. But it can be kind of a hassle if I like forget to do that, and then like people want to join me, and then like I just don't see it because my HUD is off or something. I don't know. I feel like this is pretty good. I like this change. Particle limiter. This is a really straightforward change. The particle limiter has been in VRChat since 2018, but it's been hidden in a config file, mostly because it tends to break really flashy animations. We're going to add a quick checkbox to the UI that lets you turn it on and off without restarting VRChat. This option will be great out for Quest because it's on by default, and we don't think letting people turn it off will do much good. It's better that we get avatar creators on Quest to work within the limits. We want to adjust the limits too, but that's been left for later as it'll complicate tasks. Paste button. We want to add a paste button so it's very easy to paste stuff in the text fields you find in VRChat. This is most useful for pasting YouTube links. The new UI changes might cause double work here, so the new UI team is coordinating to ensure that the extra work is minimized. Right now, this task is in design stages. The above problem is complicated. It won't take too long to implement though. This next one I know people have had mods for. Even friends and stuff have told me that they miss this. This is one of the things that they hate about not having mods, is better portal placement. We've wanted to shove portal placement on the end of the HoloPort interface for a long time. This is pretty often asked for, so we've assigned it. The interface and method needs a bit of design, so it's currently getting a design pass. Haptics On Touch. This feature causes your controller haptics to activate with varying strength when you touch various avatar dynamics systems. The task was assigned out. The Avatar Dynamics development team is working with the assigned developer to ensure that the checks don't have impact on very finely high performance optimizations that were done for Fizzbones and Avatar Dynamics. Increase favorites. This is something a lot of people probably want to hear about. Me too. This is pretty straightforward at first appearances, but there's concerns with avoiding paging problems that we've got with the old UI. The new UI can handle this just fine, but the current main menu has a lot of cruft that prevents reliable paging to work, preventing any given group from having more than 100 items in it. The backend team is working with our Unity engineers to find the best way forward. Personal mirror. This is a local-only, summonable mirror that you can use for tons of purposes. We heard about this in the last update, but it looks like we're going to hear a little bit more about it here. We had a prototype whipped up for the Summer Jam a few weeks ago, so we're rolling with that. It should be up pretty fast. It needs some art, icons mostly, but nearly there. Here's an updated video of the prototype. It's nearly done. There's some additional work needed for the full body calibration mirror, so that's getting worked on too right now. Alongside that, we have full body tracking calibration visualization. That was a mouthful. There's a few requests for better visual feedback on how close the calibration is for your full body to your avatar. Our FBT and IK focus engineers are looking on ways to best represent this. This task is in design, so it may take a bit before it gets to its prototype stage. The engineer working on this is currently working on another task on this list. So we're getting into camera changes now. It looks like there's a few changes for the camera. I would like an improved stream camera. Even though I usually use VRC lens with my avatar, the stream camera is handier and a little bit quicker to set up sometimes, so I do really like it. Having some new changes and features could be really good. First, screenshot lag. There's a long-standing bug where you lag a bit when you take a screenshot. This is a common request. It should be easy. The task got assigned. Then we have portrait mode. When you take pictures sideways on your phone, the image saves in the appropriate orientation. We should do that too. Task got assigned. That's actually really interesting. I think that'll be really good. People like taking even like quick photos in VRChat. Having portrait mode will be really good. Using the stream camera to record in portrait mode will be really good for TikToks and like YouTube shorts and stuff for content creators. I think that's a really good, helpful change. Increase screenshot resolution. We want to effectively uncap the resolution setting that you can choose for your camera. There are some concerns once you go past 8K. You have to resort to tiling to capture the full resolution, and that can have weird issues with post-processing and worlds. Task got assigned. We're investigating workarounds for that problem, but if it's anything more than an easy fix, 8K will probably be the max resolution you can set for now. We're also looking on adding a way to set the res in-app, but we might not have room for that until we get the new main menu. I think this is really interesting. I wonder if you'll be able to set the camera. Well, I guess if you're recording video using the stream camera, setting it to 8K would just make the picture quality clearer in like from the in-game stream to like your OBS. Because obviously like photos in 8K and video in 8K is very, very different. A very different setup. Because if your camera is set to 8K, but you're recording in 1440p, then it's going to be a 1440p video with more like clarity. I'm not sure. That'll be something interesting to play around with and kind of see what its limits are. User notes. This feature lets you make notes on individual users. You can store up to 256 characters on each note and have a note on up to 2,000 people. This was actually done experimentally for an internal features jam week. It looks like we're going to try and implement it web first, and then get the in-client edit and display features working in an upcoming release. It might have to wait until the main menu 2.0. We'll see. I'm actually really interested in playing with the new menu. It looks really cool in the video that we did yesterday. We got a little preview. I'll put that here too, but I think it looks really nice. It looks a lot better than the one we have now. Hide avatar by ID. This feature would let you block any specific avatar ID, so no matter who's wearing it, it's blocked. Some design considerations were discussed, primarily with our overlap with the safety systems and how show avatar could work. It was decided that the system would override safety, but would be overridden by clicking show avatar on someone. This task is in development and a prototype should show up soon. We were considering if hide avatar by author was a good idea. We've decided for now that it has a lot of social implications and weren't comfortable with it. It could have odd cooling effects on the network of public avatar creators, and we weren't comfortable with tackling right away. Maybe later once we've thought about it. Safety and security. There's more items being discussed around safety and security, primarily with how to address crasher avatars. It was known and expected that with the release of EAC, crash avatars would become far more prevalent very quickly. We've had several efforts in progress for a while to help counter crashes, but they are very big efforts and require more time. They won't be a quick turnaround, but thankfully several of these have been in progress for a long time already, so maybe we'll get something soon. We would like to give more details out to the community, but showing our hand is tough, as it risks malicious actors getting a preview of what they'll need to account for. Sorry, you'll have to trust us here that we're working on it. It's a major item of concern for us. Trust and safety has increased the sanction severity for the creation and usage of malicious avatars. Alright, this one was a pretty big one. I can't imagine this affects that many people, but I'm really glad that they're adding a fix for this because it is really lame that EAC really made this impossible for these people to play the game. But SteamVR In Proton. It turns out that EAC broke SteamVR In Proton. Valve noticed quickly and Proton Experimental has been updated with a fix. Conclusions. That's all for now. As mentioned at the top, we'll be doing this daily for a little bit to see what the community response is. See you tomorrow. Honestly, that was a lot. I've been standing here for a while. I'm a little bit tired, but that's okay. I think it's worth getting information out to you guys, but also I think it's good for me to understand all the changes a little bit better to myself. And so I can decide how I feel about all the changes for VRChat after everything that happened, how I feel about it. Personally, I think a lot of these changes were things that I never even expected VRChat to do. I thought, well, I didn't think that they were going to do the bare minimum, but I didn't think that they were going to add a lot of these things. I'm really happy they're adding the TTS speech to text to speech. I'm glad that they're adding like the voice fall off things where you can increase or decrease the range. The solo audio thing where you can mute everyone except for like the person you're talking to or like individuals that you can choose. Very cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That feature means a lot to me as someone who is an aspiring content creator. I think that'll help with a lot of things. I like the homeworld instance type. I like the near clipping slider. I'm not usually small avatars. I actually prefer to be slightly taller avatars. It's just something that I prefer. But I definitely understand that this would also help with a lot of weird or like meme avatars that have like stuff in front of their eyes sometimes. Or if you like look around, maybe your shirt pops up a little bit too far. You could change the clipping distance and it won't be in your eyes. I think that's how it works. I think that's really interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think. I know I already asked this earlier in the video, but I really am interested in seeing what like everybody else thinks about these changes. I think they're really great. I want to know how people feel about these changes after everything that happened in VRChat happened. Me included. I was a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I hope everything's okay because I love VRChat, but everything got really weird the last couple of days. I want to know how those people feel about it. I want to know how people just feel about it in general. I don't know. Just let me know. I would love to have a conversation with anybody who wants to in the comments. I guess that's really it. I think that this is a huge step in the right direction by VRChat. That's just my opinion. And I will probably do update videos on developer updates that they release throughout the days. Probably not every day, because I do want to do other kinds of content. Like I want to do like fun content, not always just standing in front of a green screen talking about updates. I do like this. It's fun. to a point, but also I think that it's important as a VRChat community member and like player to like discuss all these things about VRChat. That's mainly why I'm doing them, is because I think it's important to like also get information out of like what they are doing. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now about things happening with VRChat, and a lot of confusing things as well. And I just want to like provide information that I know is real, that I know is being shown. I guess there's a lot of things, but I want to make some fun content. I want to work on that. So probably not every day I'm not going to be doing updates, but if there's anything like crazy important or some big changes, I will definitely do that for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see updates in the future or more fun videos. See you guys later. Bye-bye.